Welcome to the show, guys. Week 10 is here. I'm out here in South Florida, going to get you fully prepared for fantasy football week 10, including the latest news and notes, injuries, to get you guys up to date. Now, I took a few days off. I'm out here with the family, vacationing, taking it in. I don't think I've ever taken more than 5 days off the podcast, but I wanted some time to, because we drove down here from the Northeast, and it was a 20-hour drive. We're exhausted. Last night was the first night we actually had some sleep. So I'm just getting caught up, just getting refreshed here. And I'm like, the first thing I got to do, obviously have some breakfast, had some organic pasture raised eggs, which are the best eggs you can get. They come out really nice and orange. You got to try them. If you guys have not switched over your eggs, organic pasture raised, it's the way to go. So I was like having my breakfast. I'm like, the first thing I gotta do is get to the listeners, Council Nation here, to get this content out for you. We are talking fantasy football week 10. And as you guys know, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up, as you can see here, all of the optimal starts at each position to get you guys fully prepared, because I know a lot of people are in a must-win situation. I also wanna implore you guys to drop your questions below. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and drop your questions below. I was thinking, while I was away, sometimes it's good to kind of step back and kind of reassess things. I really want to start implementing just all around sports news. So right now there's this whole thing going on with the UFC and this whole thing that it might be rigged, that I think one guy went in and he screwed things up and he actually rigged, one of the fighters was involved in rigging. Again, it's under investigation. I want to start reporting news like this. So turn on the bell if you guys want truth to sports, latest news in all sports. So I want to add that to the fantasy football analysis. Obviously, we go year-round with fantasy. I'm going to keep that going, but I also want to add the element of just regular sports news. Now, I've done every year, I get into the fixes in and all that, and those videos do really well. So a lot of people, there's a major thirst for people wanting truth to sports and no fluffy stuff. I've done it to fantasy, but I want to add that. So turn on the bell here, and I'm going to keep you guys up to date on all of the truth to sports as well. So smash that thumbs up, okay? Ready to get into full prep for week 10 fantasy football. Before I do, guys, head over to our partners, mybookie.ag. This is the site I use, the site I trust. Now that fantasy is kind of dwindling away a little bit, I know a lot of people might not be in fantasy, they want to enhance that game watching experience. The best place to do it is mybookie.ag. Go create an account, put down a deposit. I think there's a $500 bet back bonus now, so it's almost risk-free. Like, it's literally risk-free. Mybookie.ag. The code you want to use when you sign up is FFC upon sign up. This is the site I use. Go right now, pause the video, go create an account right there, and you guys can be very, very happy, okay? Let's start off here with the latest news and notes here. Is Breaking Brad still around? Does this even work? Because I don't have my headphones on, but we now have
breaking news.
There it is. Hopefully that came in good, because I'm on a wireless situation. I'm not set up, in my podcast studio, but hopefully it is sounding pretty good. I got a really good remote setup here. Amazing stuff. So I want to talk a little bit about the breaking news here, or latest news notes that I think is going to be relevant for you going into this week, okay? AJ Barner, a lot of people are starting him at the tight end position. He is dealing with a calf issue, so that's not good for AJ Barner there. Seattle Seahawks, limited through Wednesday's walkthrough due to calf injury. Cooper Kupp, I know a lot of people somehow think this guy is still a great player. He's old, he's washed up, dealing with a hamstring and heel issue. It was a non-participant in Wednesday's walkthrough. So again, I'm recording this Thursday. The starts and sits will remain the same, but some of the news may be updated. So you guys got to be following on my Instagram. I update the news in my story mode on Instagram. So make sure you guys check that out, okay? Nick Chubb misses practice with foot injury. Surprise, surprise, Nick Chubb is hurt. He missed Wednesday's practice due to foot injury. So monitor that if you're an owner of Nick Chubb for fantasy football, okay? DeAndre Swift expects to play this week. You got to note that. He was dealing with a groin issue. He returned to practice and said afterward that he'll play Sunday against the Giants. Good for him. Okay, I'm not a big fan of Swift anyway. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt was dealing with some sort of tooth issue. He was limited in practice. I think he should be good to go. Just not performing where he should be. Obviously, we had the injury to Jaden Daniels, which I did not report on. I did on my Instagram. If you're not, again, follow on Instagram, Fantasy Football Counselor. Terrible for Jaden Daniels. Just tore his elbow. Like, the way he fell down, snapped his elbow, dislocated, whatever you want to call it. I'm glad it's not on his passing arm, okay? This is really good news, because if it was on his passing arm, that could be catastrophic to his career. So I'm really happy that it was not on Jaden Daniels' passing arm. Great news in that sense. Unfortunate news that it dislocated. It looked really graphic. And again, this could have been career ending. So we got to be grateful. Yeah, it sucks, but Jaden Daniels is such a great talent. To have him potentially career-ending would have been bad. So we're grateful that it wasn't on that arm. Good news, okay? Aaron Jones did not participate Wednesday, dealing with that shoulder-toe issue. That continues to go. Puka Nacua was limited to begin Week 10 prep. Apparently, Coach Sean McVay said that the imaging in Nacua's ribs returned negative, and while that wide receiver will be limited to Wednesday's practice, he should be able to play Sunday at San Francisco. Puka returning back to the lineup. We're going to see how much volume he's going to be getting dealing with his injuries, okay? Marvin Mims won't play Thursday. This could be good for rookie Pat Bryant to take a step up. He had a concussion. Franklin, Sutton, it's kind of a bit of a mix there, and that's what we're seeing. And I talk about, like, you know, the NFL just making things mix. It's just constantly mixed up in regards to, like, you know, multiple wide receivers getting the ball and multiple running backs. I was looking at, and I posted it on my Instagram, so I got to follow. I did a post on the Bills and how Josh Allen is distributing it to like 9 different receivers, including like third string tight ends. It's crazy. Like the amount of distribution, like diluted, it's crazy. It used to be like wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. Now it's like 10 different wide receivers getting involved. It's crazy. And I believe they're doing that with the props betting and stuff like that, which is very unfortunate, okay? Alvin Kamara remains limited with ankle injury. Be careful if you're a Kamara owner. Limited this past practice Wednesday, okay? Quinshawn Judkins good to go after bye week. Shoulder listed. He's dealing with a shoulder injury, but he should be good to go. That's good news. Garrett Wilson was limited to return to practice. He's dealing with a bit of a knee injury. Ollie Gordon was limited in practice. He's dealing with an ankle. Trey Benson, remember he had that injury with his knee, and he was on IR. Apparently, Jonathan Gannon, coach, says that Benson's knee is doing well, but isn't ready to practice. So he's not practicing. Probably won't be ready for this week. Very unfortunate with him. Bucky Irving still not practicing as well, dealing with a foot and shoulder. Guys, it's been an absolute disaster with injuries this year. Hopefully you guys are, really, really monitoring stuff. Also, Kyle Monagai was limited at practice due to an ankle injury. A guy that's in a great position to succeed, a great matchup this week, as you'll see, okay? So that's kind of the latest news and notes here to kind of get you up to date there so you have an idea. Now let's switch over. I'm going to switch over, guys, to the starts and sits at each position, giving you all the optimal starts. Now, if you're new to the channel, how this works is green is good. That means they are in a good position to start. That being said, if you have Jared Goff, who's got an easy matchup versus Washington, and you also have, let's say, another guy's got a tougher matchup, let's say Josh Allen, which is, it's not that much tougher here. As you can see, let me pull up all 14 matches here so we can see the full scope of stuff here. Okay, so we've got Jared Goff, who's got a great matchup. And let's say you're an owner of Daniel Jones, who's been pretty solid this year. You may want to start Daniel Jones, but he's playing Atlanta, tougher matchup. But Daniel Jones been pretty hot, right? So again, it's up to you guys to kind of make these decisions based on who you want to start and sit, okay? It's up to you. Now, going 10 weeks in, you should have a good idea on who to start. So I'm going to break it down with quarterback, and then we're going to go all the way to the optimal defenses to start each week. We're going to rip through it. Again, use your own discretion and drop your questions below. If you do have a question, I'll try to get to as many as I can. Obviously, if you want to save your season, go to patreon.com/FFCounselor, where you get direct access. I drop a Q&A. I get to everybody in there if you're on the general level, the generals, okay? Where it's a Frontlines, generals, captains, privates. So generals get exclusive access, okay, until 9 p.m. on Saturday night. So join patreon.com/FFCounselor. If you haven't joined the Frontlines, you guys are missing out. And drop your questions. I'll try to get to as many as I can, okay? All right, so let's talk about it here. Let's go. Let's start off with the quarterback position. Jared Goff, great matchup. Caleb Williams, great matchup. Coming off a hot week, 39 points. Justin Herbert, great matchup. Definitely a must start this week. Herbert's been solid this year, man. A guy that you got value, and he's been pretty solid all around. So amazing, 29 points, 26 and 33 the past 3 weeks. So what you're seeing here, guys, these 3 numbers here, they're the past 3 weeks' performance, okay? Jackson Dart, if you guys have been Dynasty, I think that's a great steal. Great matchup versus Chicago. Josh Allen, obviously a must start versus Miami. This week's divisional game, going to be interesting to see how that plays out, but I think Josh Allen should be performing. He's ticking me off when it comes to owning Keon Coleman in fantasy because he's just not throwing to his ace receiver. Very unfortunate, okay? McCarthy, great matchup. Dylan Gabriel, Bryce Young. Obviously, I wouldn't start Bryce Young. Look at his numbers, 4-0 and 11. The past 3 games, been absolutely terrible. All right, guys that have good matchup, we got rough matchup. As you can see, red here, rough, right? Trevor Lawrence versus Houston, Tua, Geno Smith, Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones, Brock Purdy, excuse me, Justin Fields, Sam Darnold, Tyler Shuck, and Shuff, I call him Shuff, and Jalen Hurts, all tougher matchups versus position. That being said, you're probably not going to sit Jalen Hurts just because he's got the 10th hardest matchup versus position, but I'm making you guys aware. And being aware is huge if you're trying to debate between this player and that player, okay? All right, let's keep going here. Let's move along here with the running backs that have good matchups. You can see it all here laid out for you guys on a silver platter right there. Swift, we talked about him being a little banged up, but great matchup versus position versus the Giants. Kyle Monagai, again, a little banged up, but I would definitely start Monagai as a flex play. I like him this week. Aaron Jones dealing with an injury. Mason could be a start, but even Mason, right? Even with Aaron Jones being banged up this year, has not been able to step up. I saw this last year because I think he was on the 49ers. CMC was out. Didn't really emerge. So he's showing us the years to wow us. We're not wowed. Not looking good. James Cook, start. Must start. Great matchup here versus Miami. Judkins coming back off that bye. Again, not that great points-wise here, but look for him to step up. Oddchain obviously must start. Great matchup. Jacobs, great matchup. Chuba, again, we saw him take a step back. They're going to play their best player, which is really smart by Carolina because Rico was doing really well as soon as Chuba got sidelined. So good for him. Rico Dowdle taking that starting job. Jonathan Taylor, one of the best running backs in football. Must start. Didn't have the greatest week last week, but definitely a must start going into this week. Jonathan Taylor just wowing us. Now, I really think that this might be the last year for Taylor to really tear it up, but we'll see. And as you get in the orange, these are all mid-range matchups. Guys like RJ Harvey, guys like Jahmyr Gibbs, obviously a must start, but mid-range matchup. Guys that have it in tough at running back, Christian McCaffrey, you obviously are going to start him, but I want to warn you, he does have a tough matchup versus the Rams. Be aware. Bucky Irving, we talked about him being banged up. Rashad White, I would start him, but again, look, 8 points last couple weeks. Not performing on a top level as expected. It's Bucky Irving. It's Rashad White. That's why Bucky Irving took over, right? Breece Hall, there's all this trade talk and stuff like that. You got to imagine they're going to run him and display him and showcase him, but he does have it in tough versus Cleveland. Third hardest matchup versus position. Ja'Cory Cross-Game, tough matchup, again, dealing with a tooth issue or something like that. I think he's going to start, but again, just not performing well at all. And with the injury, you wonder how he's going to do. Is he going to do better with Jaden Daniels out? Something to monitor this week. I think he's a good flex play, but he's got to step it up, okay? Saquon Barkley coming off a hot week, 5 and 9 points the weeks before that, just not performing to Saquon Barkley levels, but you got to start him, right? Vidal, tough matchup, be aware of that. Bijan, only 18 points last week, 7 the week before. 8th hardest matchup versus position, but you still got to start him. Bam Knight, a lot of hype around him. Has done nothing lately. 7 points, 9 points. But again, if you're desperate for a running back and a flex play, that position is so scarce, you got to start Bam Knight, okay? Woody Marks, 3 points last week, not good. As you can see, the ice cube here, very, very cold. Genty, 20 points last week. This offense is terrible. 11th hardest matchup versus position, be aware. But I got to start Ashton Genty because I got him and he's a workhorse, right? Again, it's just been a crazy year, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of target dilution, and then you got injuries on top of that for a lot of these players. Moving on to the wide receiver position, Wan'Dale Robinson, great matchup. As you can see here, Amon St. Brown, been consistent the past 2 weeks, not bad, 19 and 21 points. Awesome. Ladd McConkey, been heating up, is now kind of emerged as the wide receiver one yet again. We had Quentin Johnson have a couple bad weeks, and I knew he'd be coming back, and he bounced back last week with a touchdown, 15 points. And that's what's happening, guys. You got to feel the flow. Okay, that's one thing that's happening, guys. You have to be aware. There's like a flow. 1 week, a guy has a big week. Next week, he's down. We had Troy Franklin a week or two ago tear it up. I'm like, be careful with Franklin this week. And there was a dip, right? Up and then down. It's almost like they're feeding a wide receiver one day, and they're backing off and feeding another wide receiver the other day. That's kind of what's going on here, okay? So you got to be careful. I think they're doing this on purpose, okay? So Quentin Johnson bounced back. Maybe he might be a Keenan Allen week this week. We don't know. Wide receiver committees everywhere, okay? It's absolutely disgusting. Jefferson, obviously a must-start. Great, matchup versus Baltimore. We got Deebo Samuel. Good matchup. Washington's wide receivers, great matchup. DJ Moore, wide receivers here for the Bears. Good matchup. You got, and check the injury designation with Moore if you're a DJ Moore owner. And then you've got, again, Cortland Sutton here. 10 points last week. This is a guy they paid in the offseason, a nice contract, not using him. We know that Mims is out, but is it going to be Franklin? Is it going to be Pat Bryant? Kind of emerging. We have Pat Bryant have a touchdown a couple weeks ago. That's where the 12 points comes from. We don't know. You don't know what you don't know, right? Drake London, absolutely on fire. 42 points last week. Now watch. They probably won't even feed Drake London, okay? So this is the type of stuff we're dealing with, but you got to start Drake London. Great matchup versus position. Nico Collins, great matchup here. And Garrett Wilson, good matchup. Guys that have it in tough at wide receiver. Trey Tucker, now we've got Jacoby Myers shipped off. Trey Tucker should emerge as the one. Maybe Dante Thornton gets some work. Bringing in Tyler Lockett. I was watching some training there. Does not look good in practice. He looks really slow. He's old. He's washed. It's going to be either Trey Tucker or Dante Thornton stepping up in this offense. We don't know yet. We don't know what's going to happen, okay? We don't know 100%. Again, it's more target dilution, right? We got Roman Wilson here in Pittsburgh, 0 points last week. Really unacceptable. He's got a tough matchup this week. DK Metcalf, you still got to start Metcalf coming off a 3-point week in a tough matchup versus the Chargers. This is fantasy, right? You got to make a decision. If you've got DK Metcalf, I mean, you can't sit your main guy. You just can't sit him, okay? It's hard to sit DK Metcalf when that's your guy, okay? Like, you look at him, what do you have, 3 points last week? Really just unacceptable, okay? We're going to keep going down here. Khalil Shakir. Khalil Shakir is kind of the one right now, I would say, but again, you're dealing with a guy who's in a target diluted situation as well, and he's got a tough matchup versus Miami, all right? Jacoby Myers, Jacksonville, who knows? I mean, now with Hunter being out, maybe there's something there for Jacoby, but I don't have any high hopes in a new offense. Could get a touchdown this week. We don't know 100%. Chris Olave, tough matchup. You got to start him, though. I think he'll be safe this week. Marvin Harrison coming off a 23-point week, 7th hardest matchup versus position. Again, tough matchups here, but you got to start Marvin Harrison. You got to start these names. Jackson Smith, 8th hardest matchup versus position. You got to start him, okay? Cooper Kupp bagged up. Torrey Horton, a lot of people asking now with the acquisition of Shaheed. I would still start Horton. It's going to take some time for Shaheed to get into that offense, but again, it was nice for Horton, and they brought in Shaheed, kind of screws that thing up a little bit there. But you never know. I mean, they could just gravitate to Horton because he's had more time with the team. Could emerge as the 1-2, but we don't know. Jackson Smith, the clear 1, sorry. We don't know who the 2 is yet. It's probably going to be Shaheed, but we don't know. You don't know what you don't know, okay? And obviously, the Indianapolis receivers, tough matchup. And we've got Demario Douglas coming off a big game. Is that going to continue, or is it going to be more of a Diggs matchup? Is it going to be a Butte? You know, Butte has 2 good weeks, and he has a 0 point. Like, this is the way it goes. Again, more wide receiver roulette here. All right, so this is the game we got to play. It's about kind of like, you know, if you don't know, and you've got these receivers, kind of like feeling it out. This guy had a hot week. Maybe he's going to be down this week. It's kind of just feeling it out at this point as we kind of navigate through this new fantasy world that they're trying to screw us in, okay? That's my job. It's like figuring it out. This is the first year with all this uncertainty, and we're trying to navigate through these tough waters as we, figure it all out, okay? With tight end, very simple. Start your tight end that's been consistent. I got Tyler Warren. If he's playing, I'm starting him. It's that simple for me. That's what you need is those consistent tight ends. But the guys that got it in easy, Dalton Schultz, as you can see here, Kyle Pitts, great matchup. Gaddiston, great matchup, has been a consistent target for Justin Herbert. You got to start Gaddiston. Awesome stuff. Keep going. Laporta having a big week last week, 22 points. Great start this week. And then we got Kincaid. I think he's a safe start, but as you can see, 25 points last week, 3 and then 0 the week before, right? We talked about Josh Allen distributing the targets 10 different ways, but Kincaid is a safe flex player or tight end if you need him, okay? Mark Andrews, good matchup here. Jatavius Sanders, Carolina, good matchup, but he's not doing anything. Be aware of that. Trey McBride been kind of safe the past 3 weeks. You definitely want to start him in a great matchup versus Seattle. Good for Trey McBride. Who else do we got here? Harold Fannin, been pretty consistent the past 3 weeks. Definitely worth a start there versus the Jets. Okay, those are the good matchups. Tougher matchups, Tyler Warren. Regardless, I don't care if he's playing Atlanta. Tough matchup, but I'm still starting Tyler Warren. Again, these are the tougher guys versus position. Musgrave, tough matchup here. Evan Ingram, tough matchup. 0 points last week for Ingram. Geno Smith at Pittsburgh, tough matchup. Hit Freiermuth. I think Freiermuth is pretty safe. He's been pretty consistent the past 3 weeks. I mean, 4 points 2 weeks ago, but 12 points the week before, 31 3 weeks ago. Take a look at the numbers. You make a decision, right? I think Pat's a good start this week. Even though it's a tough matchup, if you need a tight end, you got to do it, right? We got Higbee here, tough matchup. Kittle, tough matchup here. And Brock Bowers, 11th hardest versus position. you got to start Brock Bowers if you got him regardless, okay? Because that tight end position is scarce and hard to get, okay? Now, defenses. Defenses to start with the greatest matchups here. Ravens versus Minnesota, Broncos versus Vegas, Panthers versus the Saints. We got the Jets versus Cleveland, Buffalo versus Miami, Browns versus Jets, Saints versus Carolina, Seahawks versus Arizona, and Steelers versus the Chargers. I don't know about that one, Steelers versus Chargers, but I think Seattle's good. I like Buffalo versus Miami. I do like Broncos versus Vegas and Ravens versus Minnesota. And that's all I got for you guys. That'll get you guys prepared on this Thursday. And I'm telling you, man, like, it's been a crazy year, but it gets up to you guys to navigate through those waters and make sure that you guys are 100% set. Okay, guys? I got to roll out here. Drop your questions below. I'll try to get to as many as I can. Back to vacation time. I'll keep the reels and contents going on my Instagram and here on YouTube as well. So make sure you guys do hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell for notifications. And we're going to start rolling out some news as well in regards to just sports in general and more truth to sports. All right? I appreciate you guys being here. Have yourself a great day. I'm going to go jump in the pool. We will talk soon.